We are back. So this is the FZ crankcase cover. What we're gonna do now is we're gonna take these bolts off, right? We're gonna disconnect this cable, this clutch cable assembly, right? We're gonna disconnect the water pump down here, and then everything should just pop right off, right? Then we can get this new clutch pack in, get these heavy duty clutch springs in. They're about 15% stiffer, which should help it, help keep the power down and help the bike go a little bit quicker, right? Another thing I'm probably gonna do eventually is get new tires, because these ones are these are shitty. These are the cheapest Dunlops I could find just to keep the bike running. And I feel like something grippier will definitely help the bike stay on the ground more. But first we'll start with this, and we'll go from there. Okay, so step one in replacing the clutch. Okay, so step one in replacing the clutch is you are gonna have to loosen the clutch cable. What I did was I turned the clutch all the way in. Alright, then I'm gonna see if I can just pry this cable down and out here. Alright, let's see. Let's see. I might pop this lever off. Give me a sec. Okay, guys, so in order for me to get the clutch lever off, I had to take this bolt and nut off, right? So this is a 10 millimeter. I just had a socket. I had a 10 and a 12, and I was able to unscrew it. All right, so the lever's off. Oh shit, what was that? All right, and we're back to the crankcase here. All right, so what I did is I used this flathead, and I lifted this little metal bracket right here, right, to pull the clutch cable out. Right. The videos I looked online says you have to drain the oil out of the bike. Right. I've also seen guys just tilt the bike on the side, and that seemed to work fine. I'm gonna see if I can do that instead. Just tilt it to the side to keep all the oil from pouring out the second I basically drop this. All right. So we're gonna very carefully drop the bike. I'll see you guys in a few minutes after it's been tilted. Okay, boys and girls, so we got this, we got the bike tilted to its side. You can kind of see it right there. All right, hopefully that's enough to keep all the oil from spilling out. I've got this oil catch can. I'm definitely gonna lose some coolant. From what I could see in the videos, that's unavoidable, right? But this thing honestly needs a coolant flush, so that's gonna be on the list for tomorrow. I have some spare coolant in my car. So we'll flush this, all right? And see you guys in a few seconds. Okay, guys, we are back. So I have the clutch off, or I have the crankcase cover off. You can see down there is a little mix of oil and coolant. Right, you can see inside the crankcase. Things actually look pretty clean in here. Right, I've gone out of my way to give this thing regular oil changes. Right, looking back here, you can kind of see like the flywheel. Right, you can see the timing chains. You can see the timing gear. Right, things don't look too bad inside of here, honestly. Right. Those are like the guides and shit, the timing chain guides. Right down there, you can see the oil pump. Right. So altogether, this looks looking pretty good. Right. Thinking on it, I think next time if I was to redo the turbo build, maybe I'd get the oil return line on this side of the bike. Right. Get everything just kind of co-located on one side. Right. So these don't actually, when you open up the crankcase, they'll actually be screwed all the way down. All right, I've gone ahead and used my impact to just pop them off real quick. So let's get this off. We'll get the clutch plate off, and we'll get them replaced. All right, boys. So I got the clutch pack out. You can see the clutch cradle right here. Right. And as I got further back into the clutch, you can see, look at that clutch plate. So this is what the very last clutch plate looked like. Look at that. You can see it's very smoky. You can see going forward, the other clutch plates are a little bit more intact, right? Here is the brand new clutch plate, okay? I've got to let these soak in oil for a couple hours before I toss them in there. So I'm gonna go ahead and see if I can find some oil laying around, maybe find an empty pan, toss these in there and let them soak. Tomorrow morning, I'm gonna toss these clutch packs back in reverse order, get the water pump back on, get the crankcase back on, get everything bolted up, right? And it should be good to go. So I think this was part of my FZ's like hesitancy, the clutch being fucked. So I'm happy to see that it is the clutch. The other part of the hesitancy, fuck. All right, so I got my oil pan cleaned out. I'm gonna pour some fresh oil in there. Right, there are 7 clutch discs. Let's go ahead and put them all nicely spread. So you can see the good clutch discs, right? Of the 7 clutch discs that I took out the bike, 2 of them are completely smoked. You can see one fucked up at the very end, one fucked up at the very front, and then the ones in between are in various states of disrepair. So, yeah, I feel like that was part of the bike's hesitancy issues. The fact that it was hauling ass like that with a burnt clutch actually makes me excited to see how it performs, where it can actually get all the power to the rear wheels. So we'll see. Okay, boys. So there we go. I've got the clutch discs sitting in some oil. I'm gonna leave them there tonight. Tomorrow morning, I'm gonna get everything tossed back in to the bike. Okay, boys. So that's gonna be it for tonight. I've got the clutch disc sitting inside of this oil bath. We're gonna leave it for a couple hours, right? I'm gonna toss them into the bike, and then tomorrow morning I'm gonna see how it feels like to launch with actual, I guess, all the power hitting the rear wheels with the turbo on, right? I might see if I can clean up some of those metal clutch discs, maybe sand them down. They have kind of a little bit of scoring on them. We'll see. I'm gonna do some research and see how effective that'll be, right? But other than that, yeah, man. See you guys tomorrow morning, and we'll pick it up from there. All right, guys. So it's in the morning. I've got the clutch plates in, right? I let them soak overnight. Unfortunately, I didn't record myself putting it in, right? Basically, when you're putting it in, let me take this plate off real quick. When you're putting it in, right, let me take this. So when you're putting it in, you want to start with the clutch plates first, right? And then you want to put in these metal plates right here. And if you look at the metal plates, you'll see there's like a smooth edge or chamfered edge right here, and then there's a flat edge. You want the flat edge to face outwards, right? So it's clutch plate, metal plate facing out with flat edge out towards the crankcase cover, right? Like that. And then you put the last of the clutch plates in, like that. And that's that. Right, so just imagine I did that 6 or 7 times to get the new plates in. Okay, so now that we got the clutch plate in, next we have to put on the clutch basket right there. All right, so I'm gonna do that, and then we're gonna screw everything back together. I've got these new clutch springs, so we're gonna use the new clutch springs too. All right, so give me just a minute, I'm gonna get everything together. Unfortunately, I can't really record and mechanic at the same time, so. All right, boys and girls, so I got the clutch basket back on, right? The next step is to install the new clutch springs. These slightly stiffer springs should help keep the clutch from slipping, hopefully, right? I'll let you know how it dries once I get everything back together. After that, we've got to take the turbo apart, and I've got to replace the oil bearing inside of the turbo. So I'll make some videos as we're doing that, right? And then, yeah, we've got to flush the radiator, right? This thing needs an oil change, so we're probably going to be doing that later today. And you're just going to see me doing some maintenance on this thing I've been kind of holding off on, mostly because I didn't have time. But it's a Saturday, I ain't doing shit today, so we're going to get everything knocked out. All right, so the phone died, and I had to wait for it to charge up. And while it was charging, I went ahead and finished it. When you're putting the crankcase cover back on, make sure this line and this line are marked, like align, right? If you don't make sure they align, you're going to get some tightness and binding in the clutch as you use it, right? So there we go. The next step is I'm gonna go ahead and tear this turbo down, right, and replace the bearing inside the turbo. Let's see if I can find it down here. Right, so I'm gonna see if I can replace the bearings inside of the journal bearing inside of the turbo with one of these, right, between the new journal bearing, the new clutch, and the new sprocket, right, we should be able to haul ass. So see you guys in a few.